Who's the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls?
Thomas Satoransky is the starting point guard for the Bulls.
Now, if Siri knows that, y'all should know that too. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know what time you watching, but what's up? This is WAM Talk, Who-Bangin Sports Talk, NBA edition 2019 to 20. We about to get to it, man. It's the previews, but let's just get started real quick. If you didn't know, WAM Talk, we just sit here, we chilling, we talking. This time, we're gonna be a little bit more focused. We're gonna try to dive right into the NBA season, and let's get it. I know if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're doing it like this, but to start off, let's go all the way in with this NBA preview. Let's start off with the Central Division. Let's get cracking right quick with it. I'm feeling real good this year. You know what I'm saying? I run to start off with one of the divisions. I feel like it's going to be a little bit more interesting. It's gonna have something to say. That, you know what I'm saying? Some of these people have, coming off an injury. Some of these players are, got a chip on their shoulder. Some of these players haven't even played a lot, but going to the season, man. Let's start off with the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls last year, there were 22 and 60. Chicago Bulls, they got a little bit more defense, I feel, to prove this year. They got some type of new additions during the midseason, which was Otto Porter that made them a real good team. It appeared early. It was a great addition, and to somehow we got to play for draft picks and let's start doing that or whatever. You know how that works, but in this season though. They got something. They got some guy. I forgot. He's a point guard that used to play for the Washington Wizards last year, and he played. I think he played for another one. But let's ask Siri. What's his name? Hey Siri, who's the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls?
Thomas Satoransky is the starting point guard for the Bulls.
Now, if Siri knows that, y'all should know that too. He the starting point guard. He just got on board this offseason. I think it was in July they made the transaction. And he's projected to be the starter already over Chris Dunn and over Denzel Valentine. We know that those two both played point guard sometime in their career, but he's starting over him. He played pretty good in these last places, but I don't think he deserves to be a projected starter. And Siri's talking about it already. That's crazy. But they got Thaddeus Young as well, so that was a good addition. I think he's going to projected to be coming off the bench. I'm not expecting them to do that much this year. I think they're as far as what they're projected to do is 32 and a half wins for the season win total. So if that's the case, man, I would think to go over on it, but I'm not really sure to put the trigger on that one yet. I do have a little bit more respect for. I actually was down on the Detroit Pistons, and the Detroit Pistons made the playoffs. You see, they got swept by one of the other teams we're going to talk about later on, by Milwaukee Bucks. They got swept by it was a better team. They made some great additions though. They got Tony Snell via trade last year. He really didn't play like that much, and he kind of like worked himself in a little bit, but not really. In this case, I think he's going to be a pretty good addition later on, long term. I'm sorry. And as far as their other addition, which was Markeith Morris, he actually was one of the players that was better out of the two of the twins. He was one of the ones that was considered the best. I'm looking for him to make a jump. His brother's playing pretty good. He should have a good start in this role with Dwayne Casey. I got a lot of respect for Dwayne Casey this year. I'm expecting them to have a turn ahead and do better things because they really just lost. They lost Graham Robertson. He really didn't play that much with them. As far as Ish Smith, you know, they lost what they used to lean upon, but I feel like they got a pretty good coming in, which in Tim Frazier and D Rose. D Rose is is injury prone. Everybody on this team is injury prone if you talk about D Rose and Blake Griffin. But if you look at the main thing, they actually have some sort of cohesiveness and some sort of player guidance. Now they have some sort of player guidance. I feel like last few years they haven't had somebody that was specializing in one particular thing. In this case, they have a lot of defensive minded players that's coming in, and I feel like they could really help them out. So I'm really high on the Detroit Pistons.
And if
The
we go,
crazy thing about the Pistons that I probably didn't talk about, if I didn't go into the Pistons yet, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But the Pistons, they have a pretty weird looking schedule early on. They have Indiana, they have Atlanta, they have Philly, then they have Indiana again, then they have Toronto. The funniest thing about their schedule is that they don't go nowhere west towards the Mississippi, past the Mississippi until December 9th. And that's a long time before they have to make those type of travels, you know what I'm saying? So I'm expecting them to do something a little bit better on than they did last year because Dwayne Casey having 2 years under his belt. You know what I mean? With the type of players that he wanted to be around, that he's consulting with the GM, that he wants to be on this lineup and everything, and what he wants to put on the floor. I think that makes a difference. I like the 37 over here with the season win total, the 37 and a half over. That makes the most sense to me, and it looks good and looks notable that Bruce Brown with a better shooting percentage. I think Bruce Brown is going to be able to make a bigger jump. He's projected to start, I think, at shooting guard. I think that's going to be. I think he's projected to make a little jump right there. I think this team may be pretty good. You know what I mean? Even though they're going to trade Freddie Jackson. I mean Reggie Jackson. I said Freddie Jackson. Reggie Jackson. Even though they're going to trade Reggie Jackson, I think they still got a good chance of making some good noise in this team and maybe make the playoffs again. You know what I mean? But if we go down into what a lot of people would say was one of my favorite picks last year, you know what I'm saying? They see if they see me last year, they see me all on the Bucks. I like the Bucks, bro, but this year, but I feel like Malcolm Brogdon is a big loss. I feel like Malcolm Brogdon is a big loss. We could talk about that from the jump. They went 60 and 22 last year. Unbelievable season. This year, their season win total is 57 and a half. That is pretty freaking crazy. 57 and a half. That's pretty high. Knowing that they lost Malcolm Brogdon, who was really efficient, really nice on the floor. When he was on the floor for them, that's when they were covering those first halves. That's when they were locking down on defense, making all the good plays. So when them losing him and really not adding that much of a firepower back, I actually have a lot. I have a lot to say about Indiana just because of what they did right there. But as far as what they got back as far as Milwaukee. They got Dragon Bender. Dragon Bender, he's on his last leg at this point, if you really want to be technical. So he's really on his last leg on the NBA. He really doesn't do that much to this spot. He's probably not going to last that long. Wesley Matthews, I mean, we could say Wesley Matthews is really reliable in certain spots and all this great stuff, but let's be honest, he's really an old, and I don't really have that much positive stuff to say about Wesley Matthews besides that back when he was in Portland, he was really nice. But from the times that he's been at all these other places, it's not really that exciting or that impressive to me. The Lopez thing was funny to me. I feel like they're just trying to make everybody happy. They got Giannis brother, they got the Lopez brother. They're trying to have a family type of bond in this arena or something. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to really try to keep Giannis, I guess, and trying to make a family vibe or something. But I don't know. I don't know how that worked. But I think the Malcolm Brogdon loss is really bad for Milwaukee. I actually will look under this season win total if you force me to play on something on this. I'll go under the season win total on this one. But next team, which I do like because they got Malcolm Brogdon, which Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers is a sleeper team to me, just because you know that Victor Oladipo is coming off an injury. You know he's coming off an injury, and you know that he's probably not going to come back until later on down the line. But actually, I have a feeling that he's going to come back sooner than we think. I think he's going to come back more so in the late November, early December area. I think it's going to come more so in that time. So if he comes back around that time, they actually have a pretty not a favorable schedule, but They have a pretty good enough schedule, and they have a pretty sneaky starting lineup as well with Indiana. They have Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, T.J. Warren, Sabonis, and Michael Turner. That sounds a lot like a lot of defense to me. So they have a real sneaky lineup. If they could get their full lineup intact before the end of this year, I feel like they'll be a real good team to go over their season win total, which is at 46 and a half. It's not one of my favorite plays, but this is one of the things that I would lean on. I haven't made the play yet, but I really do like the season win total over 46 and a half. It makes sense to me, but I'm not really on it just too much. It's too much volatility and the injuries coming back and all that other stuff. And something else that gets catastrophic could happen during the season. You don't want to have to bet on that. So I'm really don't think this is a great value play, but if I was forced to, I would take the 46 over, 46 and a half over on the season win total. But I actually like their defense for Indiana and their what they have coming off the bench. Make buckets. He's looked like in all the reports that I've been hearing and what I've been reading, it seems like he knows he has to do something this year. Having that he had is a good little check that he just cashing in and stuff with the team. So he probably had to make some of this do right and come off the bench and make some type of good thing. And I know Nate McMillan did echo that he needs to be aggressive coming off the bench and doing a lot of things. So I'm looking for him to have a great year as well. So 46 and a half, even though Victor Oladipo is going to be out, but the thing that they have him efficient, defensive minded, Michael Brogdon coming in, rookie of the year coming in, I think that may help him out right there. So I actually do like Indiana long term. And I'm looking into seeing what they're trying to do there. Going into the next team real quick, and I'm going through these pretty fast. And I really want to get down to this team because they're saying this is one of the teams that has the best, spot. They have the best food. They have everything laid out for the players. They're first class organization. It's the Cavs, and they're 19 and 63 last year. you know, they get Darius Garland, who's projected to be the starter for the Cavs. He's projected to be the starter for the Cavs, so that's pretty good news. And for the funny thing about the Cavs as well, though, is that Jordan Clarkson, former Laker, I'm a Laker fan. If you know me up in here, you know what I mean. I'm a Laker fan. Jordan Clarkson, he's not even thinking about even starting this year or even next year or anything like that. He already got paid with the Lakers and he got traded. That's the biggest contract he's gonna get probably. And now he's just riding on the bench. That's kind of sad, man. Knowing that all the stuff that I seen with Jordan Clarkson, send out RIP, send out RIP for Jordan Clarkson. But you know, their additions is pretty big. They got John Beilein from Michigan, the coach from Michigan. He's been doing his thing at Michigan for a long time. I think he went to the Final Four or Sweet 16, fixed Sweet 16, I think last year, and have some pretty good players to come in the league. Come out of Michigan. It's a great organization, I would say, but for the most part, he's I think there's a lot of bad stuff behind the scenes with him. He's not that really good of a coach, in my opinion. This is his first year NBA coach. I don't think this is going to be one of them years that he's being pressured to make something out of this team or this lineup. I think he has a lot of young players. It's real cool and whatever, but their season win total is at 24 and a half for a reason. I don't want nothing to do with this team. And that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? That's how I want to end this off right here. I want to end this off, just to give a special thanks out to everybody that's tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe, tune in to Wham Talk. We're gonna do this more often. This is nothing that we ain't gonna do. You know what I mean? We're gonna try to come at y'all with every season win total that I think that has value. I think the Detroit Pistons is the one in the Central Division. I know they're probably leaning towards Giannis at the MVP. I don't think it's no. I don't really think it's no value in that, in my opinion. It's gonna be somebody different. Let's do something else, bro. Let's get some other money. Let's get it cracking, man. DJ Big Boss. Shout out to my man DJ Big Boss, Big Ragu, Ski Profit. Hey, and there's gonna be some other people on there. I'd say my man Ski, because my man Skis, you feel me? He doing this thing in the NBA. I already know. as well as my man Jay Money. My man Jay Money doing this thing as well. You feel me? Everybody else y'all know in the chat, we doing our thing as well. We doing our stuff. But it's gonna be more people up in here. We're gonna try to do something different, you know what I mean, this year. Make it real quick, real brief, real talk. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna talk and just shoot the shit and let's get it cracking though. But Wham Talk, we out of here. Let's do it again. Who Bangin Sports Talk. Cracking.